this orientation all hooked up. Stream horizontally, but switched up to vertically on me. Settings. Let's do all messages. Boom. Alrighty. Second. Oh, how goes it, everybody? Let's get that all like that. This in just a smidge. All right, good. Smidge. There we go. Alrighty. Welcome out to BeatsRhymesKnife Live. I have a different microphone setup this time, so if you guys could hear me loud and clear, go ahead and give a thumbs up whenever you guys trickle on in. We're just gonna chill out and watch the sunset for a little bit, chat, hang out, see exactly what's going on with you guys. Oh man, it has been a week. Crazy week. Oh, I gotta move my foot. Alrighty. And we'll do all messages. Monitoring over here. So if you guys are coming into the chat, checking it out, I started a little bit early just so I could get this sound test going, which I think it's going good. I got this little shotgun mic. Let me see. You hear double me. I started a little bit early just so I could get this sound test going, which I think it's going good. I got this little shotgun mic. Let me see. You hear double me. I started a little bit early just so I could get this sound test going. Alrighty. So we are all the way live. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this down. So we are all the way live. Cool beans. So hopefully I'm going to be able to get a little bit of a better stream going, a more consistent way of doing these live streams. But for right now, I just wanted to be able to hop on. It's been a busy week. I didn't get a chance to do a video this week. I actually, I did something stupid. I don't even know how I did it, but I was doing some yard work around the house, and I ended up, yo, what's going on? I ended up pulling a tendon in my foot while I was blowing some leaves over. So for those in the chat, go ahead and hit a thumbs up if I sound good, if it's coming through clear. I get a 1, 2, 3. Just one of those thumbs up emojis will be good. Yo, 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 how goes it? People coming on in. So again, welcome out. Second live stream. Hopefully it sounds better than the last one. And hopefully everything runs flawlessly. I don't live in the United States anymore. I actually live outside of the United States, so I'm working off of a Starlink, and it's pretty good most of the time until it's not. And when it's not, then it's a little hit and miss and can get a little bit of chop going to it. So, all right, y'all. So how are you guys doing today? Oh, it looks like 23 watching. Okay, cool. Praise the Lord. Go ahead and drop a thumbs up or a hello or everything sounds good, because I'm checking the sound on this live stream. I think this is the setup I'm going to go with because I think it sounds a little bit better than the headphones that I was using. So let's see. Yeah. So again, yeah, this week, no video. I was planning on doing it. Stuff got in the way of it. And then I went right when I finally had some space to do it. I was doing some lawn work. Kind of rolled my foot weird. Confession, I was wearing Crocs. You shouldn't be doing yard work in Crocs. So, but yeah, rolled my foot just a little bit weird, and I ended up pulling a tendon in my left foot. So I've had to be sitting down in the house, keeping my foot propped up. I can still walk and everything, but it's really sore. And typically where I record my videos is it's a short hike. It's just, you know, maybe about a couple minutes this way into the forest behind my house. And so, but yeah, it's all uneven rock. It's a lot of volcanic rock, and you could roll your ankle easily. And since I had already injured my foot, I didn't want to risk going out there and setting up everything, carrying everything out there and doing the video. So I'll get back in the swing of things next week as it pertains to the more highly produced videos, but I am going to be doing a lot more of these lives, kind of impromptu. Hopefully, eventually, we'll settle into a schedule. So a couple things I want to hit up. First and foremost, no vid this week. That's why I'm doing the live, so that I could get a chance to interact with you guys. Secondarily, the vids that were posted over the past 2 weeks. Yeah, I wanted to get your guys' reaction to those things. First was Mike Tango Whiskey sharing his story, how he got into prepping. And sorry, that was just acting more weird. How he got into emergency preparedness. And yeah, I thought it was a dope video. It was awesome of him. He's a bigger channel now. He's at about 25,000 subscribers. And so I reached out to him, just said, hey, I'm doing a series where people get to share stories regarding everyday carry, preparedness, things like that. And he's like, yeah, man, I've never actually shared my full story about how I got into preparedness. And he laid it out. It was awesome. Kind of hearing his journey from the military and the Air Force into some of the things that he experienced during 9/11. He was stationed in Alaska for a good time. That kind of taught him that the environment itself can be hostile towards you. 9/11 kind of taught him that the world around you can be hostile towards you. And then the whole COVID scenario kind of showed him how governments, local and municipal, all the way up to federal, can be hostile against you. And so that's kind of his journey into preparedness. And it was really cool hearing someone else kind of sort through those thoughts in their mind. It was actually kind of good for me to hear another story as well, because my preparedness journey was more like a single event. And with that single event, well, it wasn't exactly a single event, but it was one event that kind of put me over, over the line into full-on emergency preparedness. And that was Hurricane Irene and trying to get some medicine for my daughter because we hadn't prepared for it. And then the following year was Hurricane Sandy. I lived out on the East Coast of the United States at that time. And that event kind of just woke me up. Hurricane Irene woke me up to how unprepared I was. Hurricane Sandy the following year was an example of what being prepared looked like. So that was kind of a year journey. And I shared that story on my channel. That series, story time, already reaching out to other people. I'm going to try to shoot for about one a month. Hopefully it's going to be some of my stories and then some other people's stories. And it won't just be their origin story about how they got into preparedness or everyday carry, but also about events and times in their life where having those necessary items on you, whether in an everyday carry scenario or in a preparedness scenario, helped them out or was a blessing to other people. So, yeah, that series is going to be going on for about, or it's going to be hopefully uploading about one a month. Reaching out to a few people, got that in the works. So that's something you guys could look forward to in the upcoming months. Also, I'm already working, actually it was supposed to be this week. I'm already working on the next Proven video. That's another series I want to do on this channel. Again, this channel is less about, the news and what's going on, even though I'm going to share some of that with you guys today. Less about the news and what's going on internationally and all the dangers and all the fear and fantasy and prepping, as Mike Tango Whiskey puts it, and more about practical application and how we utilize the equipment we have, how it sharpens us, and then how these experiences are learning for us. So the story time is like the learning experiences. And then the Proven scenario, or the Proven series, is more about gear that we've actually, myself has actually tested, used, and can vouch for. Not stuff that gets sent to you by, some random company, some random upstart. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks after carrying it, you're like, yeah, I approve of it. I don't like... personally, I'm not against anyone else who does those type of reviews, but personally, I like hearing from people who are honest and have given the gear and even some of the kits that they have and that they showcase, given it a thorough test. And again, nothing more than just having it around, using it consistently, see how it wears in, see how things, conflict with other kits or systems that they may have. So that's what the series Proven is about. The first one was about the Chris Reeve Umnumzan, one of my favorite folding knives of all time. So nice, I bought it twice, right? And so that was the series proven. And the next one is going to be, this will be kind of like a heads up, is going to be on the nutsack sling pack. Again, funny name for a company, but they make awesome gear. I've had that nutsack sling pack for, man, going on 3 years now. When I first moved out of the country, it was like my primary carry bag. I had to keep my passport and an iPad, some video equipment, all that kind of stuff in it, and it was just big enough where it was able to fit all that stuff, but it was also small enough where it passed off as kind of like a sling. You know what I mean? Just bigger than a fanny pack, but not quite a full backpack. So that's the next video that I'm going to be doing. That's going to be, Lord willing, next week. What was supposed to be this week. So yeah, that's going to be next up on the docket. Also got some kits and some prepper theory that I'm going through. The prepper videos that I do, the preparedness videos that I do, I kind of like to look outside the box with some things. There's kind of a set trend or a set ideology as it pertains to everyday carry and emergency preparedness. And I don't necessarily think that all of those things are have been put to the test or have actually have any real world implications. I think a lot of it's theoretical stuff that's been taught outside of the civilian or everyday life context. A lot of that stuff comes from the military perspective, and sometimes that military civilian overlap doesn't fit. A lot of times it does. Some basic knowledge regarding everyday carry, regarding everyday preparedness, emergency preparedness, survivalism, all of that stuff in the military realm has applications in the real world. But some of it in a civilian scenario might actually draw more negative attention and be detrimental to I think more real world and not realm of and not theater of war scenarios. So that's what I'm working on next. I'm working on another theory or another theory video, a philosophy video, I guess you would say, a preparedness philosophy, kind of challenging some of the status quo as it pertains to those things. Give me a second, need to hydrate. Alrighty. Hey brother, good to see you. MF in research. What's up, man? How you been? Slip Joint Society. Dudes on Instagram that I follow and talk with a lot. They're awesome people. You guys go ahead and hit me up. Tell me how the sound is sounding. I changed up the microphone a little bit. If it's all clear, just give me a thumbs up. So for those who are just coming in, I kind of went over why there's no video this week. I was doing some yard work around my house, and we have a lot of volcanic rock where I live, and I kind of twisted my foot wrong and ended up straining or pulling a ligament in my left foot. And so, okay, good. I'm glad it sounds good. Cool. Yeah, so I ended up pulling a ligament in my left foot, and wherever I record, I typically am standing, or I have to hike a little bit to get to the recording spot. And so my wife was like, "You're gonna sit down, you're gonna put that foot up," and I was like, "All right." So wifey knows best. You guys could give an amen to that. But yeah, that's why I'm doing the live, just to be able to chat with you guys and put something up that people could watch later. And then the reason why it's vertical, not horizontal, is I forgot to press a button. So getting better. Sounds better this week. Sounds better this week, and hopefully next week it'll actually be horizontal. Again, the Mike Tango whiskey video, doing pretty decently well. He's an awesome brother. If you guys haven't, most likely most of you guys who are subscribing to this channel have subscribed to him already. He actually only started his channel about 7 months ago, I think middle of last year, but he puts out so many videos so consistently. I'm like, man, that dude's running and gunning, and now he's at like 25,000 subscribers. But I like his approach. I like the first time I watched him, he was kind of on my mindset. Like a lot of the things that the prepper community or the everyday carry community just accept as truth. He was like, is that really true? I think one of his big concepts or big kind of controversial takes was that your pistol is your primary weapon as opposed to a long gun, even in a emergency scenario. And people are like, what? No, long gun first, then pistol is your secondary. He's like, yeah, but we're not LEO. He's like, we're not law enforcement. We're not military anymore. Like, I can't carry my long gun into work. You know, I might be able to CCW it and conceal it, but and so it'd be better to be more efficient with the thing that's on you, and the thing that's on you consistently is your primary. But that was kind of one of his takes that got a lot of people up in arms. The other one is he's like super anti compass. Like, he doesn't put compass in any of his kits. And I get it. He lives outside of the city in the suburbs. Everything's on a grid. As long as you have a good sense of where north, south, east, and west is, and where you live in relation to your work, you could pretty much follow the grid. I don't think if you live in a city, you need a compass. I, however, do not live in a city. I live about an hour and a half or 2 hours outside of one of the biggest cities in the world. And but you got to go over like 10,000 feet in elevation in order to come back down to where I live. So I need a compass. Sorry, Mike. Awesome. Gonna do a quick pocket check, just so you guys can see what I'm carrying today. I did a couple weeks back. I did a 2026 EDC update and kind of showed how I consolidated a lot of what I carry on my person. Then recently I did a collection update, mostly folding knives, of how I consolidated and sold off a lot of my collection. Also, I'm selling some fixed blades if as a package deal. If you guys are interested in everyday carry fixed blade, I got about 5 of them, really high quality ones for a low price. That's on the posts or the community tab on my channel, and also on my Instagram page a couple posts backs. So first and foremost, I got, let's see, this is the Big Idea Design TI Field Watch Automatic. It's on the stock strap, but awesome everyday carry watch. It's hopefully, there we go. Yeah, that's focusing. It's an automatic, has great lume. It's manufactured by RZE. And it's titanium, so it's really lightweight, especially on this NATO strap. Not a huge fan of NATO straps, just because I tend to dirty them up and muck them up a little bit. But it's a little warm out now, and so I'm starting to sweat. So my leather straps get very, very jacked up very quick with the amount of sweat that I give it. So that is on my wrist. Let me go ahead and give that back here. They were, I don't know if the price bumped up or if just tariffs in general caused the price to bump up. I think they were sub 500 initially. Great watch, Seiko movement in it. Like I said, great lume, titanium. And then if you add their titanium bracelet, it kind of goes above that 500 mark, but totally worth it. This is one of my favorite watches. I'm always wearing it. Keys, I didn't do this last time, is the JRW Tough Clip. It's kind of what I've been carrying my keys on. It's very, very easy to go on and off, but it doesn't come off very easily because of the depth. And when you put your shirt over it, it kind of keeps the keys from jingling and quiet. Super simple. That's the Carry Commission edition in the topo pattern. And then, let's see, back left pocket. Ace Beam Pokey Lit, AA size battery. This one has, what is it, the 18650 or the 14500? I forgot which one is the AA size, but it's the rechargeable one. And awesome, simple user interface. That's what I got in my left pocket. Got my bandana. Let's see. Oh, folding knife. Folding knife is Slip Joint Society. You're going to like this one. I'm carrying my Tactile Ranger. Tactile Ranger. Let's see how that looks right there. There we go. Awesome. Kind of a, I guess, a trapper-ish pattern on the handle with a beautiful clip point. I guess that would be like a California clip. Beautiful. Almost a Lanny's clip. Full titanium handles with a little bit of a micarta inlay, and this one's in Magna Cut. Awesome walk and talk. The only thing that I don't like about this tactile one is the nail nick is on the swedge, and that swedge does get a little bit thin, so you kind of have to use your nail. You can't really pinch it open. They have a newer one that's a Warncliffe version of this that gives you more to kind of pinch, and it's a full flat grind too. So Tactile Ranger, beautiful, awesome American-made slip joint, and I keep it in this. What company is this? Cavill, I think. It's a Cavill leather slip, and has a pocket clip on it, and I kind of just put it in like this, nice and tight. And then when you kind of squeeze it, it falls out. But when it's in your pocket, it kind of presses up, so keeps it nice and tight in there. Haven't had it fall out yet. Let's see. My wallet thing for today is missing the notebook because my notebook's right here. I got my notes on it, but it's a Hitch and Timber pocket tool pouch. And in that, I have my cards and my cash in the main zip. Typically, again, my, let's see, pull this out. My Big Idea Design pocket notebook. These things are amazing. Better, way better than field notes. That one's right there. That goes in the front part. Then I got my Big Idea Design mini click in titanium. Probably the best everyday carry pocketable pen. Doesn't write the best, but it fits pretty much everything. Then I have, what's this one? This is the Victorinox Companion. And this is actually the bladeless model. It has a cutting implement, I guess you could say, but it's bladeless technically. And so it's got the newer tool, which is kind of like a package opener. And then it's got the bottle opener slash flathead. I use this more for like prying at things. And then this actually, the tip of it works for Phillips screws and then scissors. And that's all that's in there. And it's super thin. None of it locking, but yeah, super thin. Goes right up here, right in this, and it stays in there in my pocket. I'll put this back there so I don't have to shove it in my pant again. So yeah, that's what I got. I think that's everything. Oh yeah, the bandana. Keep my bandana in my back left pocket. Always needing it, always sweating, always wiping off camera lenses and stuff like that. But yep, that's what's in my pocket for today. Last thing I kind of wanted to chat about, because we're, let's see, how long are we in? I think we're only like 20 minutes in, but I was only going for about a half hour today. This might actually end up being longer with this topic, and you guys could chime in with your opinions. So I typically don't mention where I live in my, what's it called, in my videos. But you can find out where I live. I have another channel. We get missionary support, and I do. I have a ministry channel because I'm a pastor by trade. It's my day job, and I live in Mexico as a missionary. And my wife and I serve at an orphanage here. It is not a Christian orphanage. In fact, it's a very new age orphanage. But they open the doors for Christians to come in and share the gospel. And we've actually taken what's it called? Not legal guardianship, but really care. We're in a position of caregiving for 3 teenage boys that are at this orphanage. So yeah, I live in Mexico. I moved here about 2 years ago. I really do not plan on going back to the United States, but we'll see what God has. So I kind of want to share a few thoughts regarding what the American news has been saying is going on in Mexico versus what I've been seeing here on the ground. Now, I do live in central Mexico, so it's a little bit further from where a lot of the cartel violence in response to the assassination of one of the cartel heads by the Mexican military under the guidance of the American military, and all of their responses and everything. So I live a good while away from there. A couple things for context, and hopefully this will help you guys with your preparedness mindset as it pertains to information gathering. So Mexico's huge. I think sometimes people forget about how big Mexico actually is. So when you see on the American news that something's happening in Mexico, it's like, oh, like all Mexico's on fire. If you overlay a map of Mexico over the United States, it's about a little less than a third the size of the entire United States. And so, for example, if something were popping off, and let's just say like Tijuana, right? Something were popping off in Tijuana, but you lived in, I don't know, let's see, like the bottom edge of Mexico in the Yucatan Peninsula, Cancun or something like that, right? That would be the same distance as something popping off in Seattle, and you hearing about it in Houston. It's almost exactly the same distance. And so when things are happening in Mexico on the borders, on the border towns, outside of major cities, whatever it is, and Mexico doesn't have a lot of major cities. They got about 3 or 4 major cities, and then the population drops off significantly. Typically speaking, the rest of Mexico is business as usual. And that's kind of what you end up seeing in America as well, right? You see stuff popping off in Detroit, in Chicago, in New York, Philly, or in Seattle, Portland, things like that. When there's riots, or in 2020, right, when the George Floyd protests were going on, and in Portland there was a whole section of a city that was taken over by protesters. For people forget that actually went on for like over a year. Someone got shot and killed there. You know what I mean? A couple people got shot, but one person in particular got shot and killed there. Um, when that was going on, people down in Houston weren't like, "Yo, we need to get out of here. The whole thing, the whole country's on fire." So I think sometimes when we get, especially as in the United States, when they get news from another country, they don't really have the context as to how frequently something like that happens, if the information they're getting is being manipulated or if it's valid, and just the size of the country in general and what it means to the entire population. Where I live, again, I live outside of a major metropolitan area, about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then there's a smaller city next to us, about 45 minutes or 30 minutes from us. And I mean, I was going to the store and I didn't see anything. There wasn't really anything going on. That's not to say that these things weren't happening. Um, what was happening, and speaking to the locals, was a lot more common and not necessarily as aligned with how the American media was portraying it. We'll put it that way. I never noticed this until I moved outside of the country, but I never noticed, because I still stay in tune to a lot of American media. I never noticed how much American media portrays other countries as wholly dangerous and completely unacceptable. It's like stay away from. And when you step back and think about it, it's like, man, are they trying to lock y'all in? Are they trying to, lock you guys into the United States and say just travel here and never leave the country, never experiencing anything new? Um, I actually was doing some statistical studies. I'm a bit of a nerd on the side. Um, I was doing some studies regarding um, the violence rate in American cities. And as of 2010, right around 2010, a lot of major metropolitan areas, not just major cities, but major metropolitan areas, stopped reporting violent crimes consistently to the national database through the FBI. Also, around that time, a lot of major cities started decriminalizing certain acts. So you see in like California, right? Something that's a felony as it pertains to armed robbery and burglary went from I think over $200 that was considered a felony armed robbery to over $1,000. So now everything that was considered a felony the year previous has now been classified as a misdemeanor, even though that would have been reported to the national database regarding that city, that's an aspect of violent crime, armed robbery, right? So a lot of the statistics after about 2000 to 2010 started changing in order to kind of give American cities this sense of, oh, violence is going down, crime is going down, and you see a lot of big city politicians saying that. I'm not going to speculate, left or right paradigm, who's saying it. I think honestly it's two sides of the same coin. No one has your best interest in mind. But what it does is it gives a perception of the United States as being safer statistically than other countries. If you were to operate on the trajectory of crime increasing from the early 2000s and say, let's just say it's increasing at a little bit less than, but about the same rate. New York, Chicago, Detroit, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Baltimore, what else? Atlanta, St. Louis, all of those cities would be exponentially more violent per capita than Mexico City. But something happened in 2010 where those statistics shifted. And so when we talk about international news and the violence and our perception as American citizens, right, regarding other countries, I think it's easy, given the American media and how they portray America in light of other countries, to just perceive like, man, everything else is third world and America has no problems or our problems are diminishing. So I guess I say all that just to make sure that you guys have a perspective that's beyond just what the media is feeding you guys. Why are they feeding you that? I don't know. There's speculation as to that. But one of the things that is definitely an area, an aspect we need to prepare against is misinformation. And again, not to say that I'm well aware of the cartel crime stuff here. There's a video I watched though, and I might put it on my post after that I do this video. The video I watched from a guy who's from a city that's not too far from me, and used to live. And he said, you know what I don't notice in all the cities in Mexico, in the major, or in the cities especially that are more Mexican and less touristy? He said, I don't notice drug addicts on the street. I don't notice a lot of, shady looking people trying to, steal your pocketbook. No one's ever come up and offered me drugs. He said, kids walk down the street. Where I live, there's this lady who runs a restaurant, and she sends her granddaughter to go down the block, to go to the, what's it called, to the local fruit stand and buy cilantro and onions and stuff like that, and then just sends her back. He's like, you don't see that as much as you do in American cities. He says, however, when you go to, he said, whenever I've gone to touristy cities where they cater to Americans, that's where I get offered drugs. He's like, it's almost as if the people who are offering drugs don't want to offer it to their own population. You don't see, there's not a huge narcotics or what's it called, opioid crisis going on in Mexico. Not a lot of people addicted to narcotics. The biggest things are alcoholism, and marijuana is becoming more prevalent around here. They got like, what's it called, cannabis shops and stuff like that. So those tend to be the vices. He says, so when you compare these two things, you have to ask the question, it's not about supply, it's about appetite. So why is it that they're only coming up to strangers and offering drugs outside of American American visited tourist cities? And it was an interesting point because it's kind of like, dag, like I never thought about that. It's about appetite. Like, why is it that we have that much of an appetite? I think the one thing that shook my perspective a lot was my wife and I used to work in the field of human trafficking aftercare. My wife was a director of a program where we would rescue and rehabilitate girls who had been sexually abused and trafficked. When the program closed, me and my family actually adopted. My brother-in-law adopted 3 of the girls who were left in the program that hadn't gotten placed, and my wife and I adopted the 4th. So we know firsthand the ugliness of human trafficking. But I'll tell you what I learned being an advocate during that season of our life when we worked in that field and when we were running that program and when we had all of the referrals coming across our desk and seeing those things. I learned that the American appetite is what's fueling the cartel's business. The number one importer of trafficked victims from all over the globe is the United States. The number one importer of fentanyl and other narcotics from other countries is the United States. The United States has an appetite problem. Now, you can bust every drug dealer you want, but if someone is still an addict, you got to intervene with the addict. And that's when you'll cut off the supply, or that's when you'll cut off the addict from their supply. So I think that's an interesting perspective. Again, I'm not anti-American. I see stuff going on there that grieves my heart. And I'm going to do a longer length video regarding why I moved away from the United States. And I didn't move with, rose-colored glasses thinking, Mexico's some kind of bastion of perfection and safety. I understand what's here. But, so all of that to say is, I think sometimes we got to think outside of the box of what the media's given us. If 2 stories don't add up, you know what I mean? Like, start questioning things. Start questioning official narratives. The more you do that, the more you'll be ahead of the curve as it pertains to preparedness. The more you'll have a sensitivity to how your own emotions are manipulated and how easily you can be swayed and your opinion can be swayed and captured by certain people giving certain narratives. You know, like the thing that kind of shocked me recently was when the most recent drop of the files, the files that came out. Immediately, people started arguing, "Oh, it's a bunch of Democrats in there. Oh, it's a bunch of Republicans in there." It's like, whoa, 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 hold up. They're both, like, both are in there. Like, can we just stop and say that what that revealed is that the largest trafficking cartel in the world is the American government, and they've done bent over backwards just to cover that fact up, and it's an all-consuming monster. So, all of that to say, whenever you are given any bit of information about what's going outside of the United States or what's going on inside the United States, ask yourself, why are they showing me this, and who benefits if I believe it? And I think that's an S that most people don't want to engage in because it might upset their own opinions. It might upset their own biases, whether it's a political bias, religious bias, moral bias, whatever it is. So, again, I know that's a bit of a tangent, but hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of perspective of not only what's going on down here, but also about how media can sway our perspectives. Purposes that may be unbeknownst to us. Maybe look at the details, the facts, but don't look at the talking heads giving their opinions. Hey, this happened there. Okay, cool, this happened there. How frequently does it happen? Is this common or is this uncommon? Is it really happening to civilians, or look for people on the ground who live in that region? So if obviously with places like Iran, they're going to shut off the internet, but try to find those sources. Those sources can be biased too because they just want clicks. I saw a lot of people who are ethnically Mexican but United States citizens putting out on TikTok and on Instagram and stuff like these videos about how brutal this stuff was going on down here, and but when they were saying, "Oh, it's civilians," it wasn't. It was all cartel. Cartel are civilians. They're not an army. So when they say, "Oh, it's a civilian," it was a cartel member. It was the military versus cartel. That stuff happens all the time down here. So think about those things. Make sure you test and question everything, and then once you do gain that information, say, "How do I navigate this without being emotionally manipulated? How can I prepare my emotions for what I'm seeing?" Sometimes you just got to shut it off. Recently, I got off of Twitter, off of X, because it was just nothing but argumentation about things that were happening. For a while there, it was a good source of on-the-ground information, but I'm like, you know what? I'll just follow the on-the-ground people on their own websites or elsewhere. I'm not going to bother with X because it's becoming too argumentative. I just need to know what's going on, and I'll make my own decisions. I'm not going to be playing party to anyone who wants me to think or believe a certain way. So as it pertains to that aspect of preparedness, make sure that you guys are testing all things, trying all things. Make sure that you always question that, why am I being shown this over and over and over again, and who benefits if I believe it? So yeah, that's kind of just my 2 cents, a little bit about the media's involvement, and then how do we prepare ourselves against it. That's probably I have a whole video that's being in the works regarding preparedness against media manipulation. That's going to be another deep dive that I go into. And then I'm also gonna I'm a huge advocate of traveling for both the everyday carrier and the emergency preparedness minded person. Travel, experience the world, get a different perspective. It's dangerous, it's scary. Listen, yeah, you could come to Mexico and get kidnapped by the cartel, or you could walk outside your door and get hit by a bus. The world's scary, but I think sometimes the risk is worth the reward, and the perspective you gain on the ground, it's unlike anything else. Being outside of the United States for the past 2 years has been a world changing, mind changing perspective for me. And I traveled a little bit within the United States, and I'd been to Mexico before, but living here, getting to see the people, whole different ball game. I just always presume that what I'm being told in the American media is 90% truth, 10% lie. And that 10% lie can consume you. Don't let it consume you guys. All right, let's see. We've been going on for about 40 minutes. I got through no vid this week because I injured my foot. Let's see the schedule. Oh, also that's the other thing. I think I'm gonna change up the schedule. I was always putting out videos on Friday or Saturday. I'm gonna try to put them out a little bit earlier so people could see them through the week. And if they don't see it through the week, they can watch it on a Saturday or a Sunday. So maybe a Thursday. I think Thursdays are good days to put out videos. So I might be shifting up the schedule on videos. This little break, literally on my foot, gave me some breathing room to kind of reassess that and see what days are best. Everything's been trial and error on this channel, so I don't know what I'm talking about until I do. So that's the other thing I forgot to talk about. Please check out the Mike Tango Whiskey video, his story time, his preparedness story, how he got into emergency preparedness, working on some more stories. Hopefully, MF and research, hopefully, what's it called? You could do yours next. And then got a couple other people in the works for that series. Next video up is going to be on the Nutsack Sling Pack, or Sling Bag, which is that's been one of my favorite everyday carry things for the past 3 years. That's going to be part of the Proven series. And then, yeah, I think that's it. Oh, I did my EDC pocket check, so I'll do those every time I do a live. And that's about it. We talked a little bit about Mexico and media manipulation. Kind of a hot button topic. But other than that, I think we're good, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this live. Hopefully it goes a little bit smoother next time. I'm still working on the internet. I know it got a little bit choppy there. Thanks, Elon. But other than that, thank you guys for joining this live. Thank you guys for subscribing to this channel. Feel free to share it with your friends or with your family who may find this information useful. And also, I'm trying to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. There's a lot of doors that could be opened up to help support this channel once you cross over 1,000 subscribers and a certain amount of views. So yeah, if you guys could help me out in doing that by spreading the word, sharing the channel, sharing the videos, liking the videos helps, commenting helps as well, and always gives a little bit of a boost to the algorithm. So hope you guys enjoy this live. Hope you guys are enjoying the channel. Continue to watch the videos, and hopefully I'll have something new for you up next week. God bless you guys, and peace.